You get it straight about being born again, and then all the rest of this stuff, then you can understand it. But you're not going to understand nothing. You're not going to understand why you get mad at folk. You ain't going to understand why it is that you can't agree with other people. Because until you're born again, that's the real. That's the real. You can't see it because it's not based on what you think and how you feel about it. Until you are made to see what the kingdom is about, you'll never understand these things. You won't understand these things. So he says here, if that doesn't happen, you won't see. Now, he said, Nicodemus said unto him, well, how can a man be born? You speaking a language here now that I don't even know what you're talking about. Now watch it. This man is a teacher. This man is a master teacher. He's been teaching other folk. So he wants to know about born again. And that's where we stand now in the religious world. People don't know about being born again. They hear about it, and they've been made to believe that it has happened. But in fact, too many, it hasn't happened. They've never known and never received the kingdom. They can't see the kingdom of God. Now they can see the formula that you told them to say. They can see all that. But there's something to see in the kingdom. Yes. It's something to knowing what the kingdom is about. Because if that was all he had to do, you know what would have happened? Jesus would have said, Nicodemus, just stand up and say, I see the kingdom, and you'll be born again. It wasn't like that. He knew that there was a depth that he had to get him to, well, he would be made to see and know that it was something different about people that have received the kingdom than people that just go to church. Oh, y'all better get with me this morning. This is going to save your life. He wanted him to know it was different, so he takes the time. The man says, born again. He said, how can a man be born when he's old? You mean to tell me I got to go again and get in my mother's womb and be born? He was totally oblivious to spiritual things. The only born again he knew about was a natural birth. He knew nothing about spiritual birth, and that's the problem with too many people today. We don't know about spiritual birth because too many things has happened to make us think that we got it spiritually. Number one, you come in church, and then we'll put a chair out here for you to sit in the chair, and then you tell us you want to be baptized, and then many people get up thinking they ready to be born again. That ain't no born again. Or they just tell you, well, all you got to do is just repeat after me. They're repeating after you, and I know where they're trying to come from. But there is something real about being born again. It's something real about it. And if we never get there, every time you look around, you're going to want somebody to preach to you again about stop fornicating, stop committing adultery. See, all of that is what you were about, what our life was about as sinners. That's what we were about. Jesus died that he might save us from all of this sin. I can't see, what we trying to do, we trying to patronize sinning and declare ourselves to be people of God. We want to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and then we want to patronize. Well, see, I don't do no more than nobody else. It ain't even about that. It's not about that. Who told you to measure yourself by somebody else? That's not born again because you don't do what other folk do. That's not born again. And that's where many of us are all mixed up. Yeah, they doing this and they doing that. and then they declare themselves to be a Christian. You ain't straight, you not straight, and they not either. And none of it equate to being born again. And that's where the breakdown is. That's why we're so mad. That's why we can't receive. That's why most of the time we don't move from one degree of glory to the other, because we're not seeing the kingdom. You're not seeing it. And as long as you don't see it, long as don't see it, you're going to always have a problem with the church. Because until you understand what it's really all about, you'll see that the problem is not so much the church. The problem is you. And you going to get yourself straight. That's what you begin to see. But we got just enough of this religious thing. We got just enough of it to make all us sickening. Sickening. For something where you're going to show me how to prosper and get me some new stuff and new things, oh, you got me now. But that's not born again. That's not born again. Even when I show you you got a destiny, that's not born again. You can know about all of that, and then you can have all the good things coming your way. You got all the money you need. You got prestige. You got honor. You got a position. That's not born again. That's not it. And that's why we've been made to look so poorly. We've been made to look bad, because what Jesus told Nicodemus, that's what we're trying to bypass and be the kingdom of God. We can't do it. He said, except a man be born again, he can't see it. So that's why you jump up and go from this church to that church, get tired over there, jump up and go to that one. Then when you say something to make me mad, I'm leaving you and I'm going over there, because you have not yet seen the kingdom. You haven't seen the kingdom. When you see the kingdom, all of that jumping and flipping and lipping and all of that stuff, it'll stop. It'll stop when you see it, because you won't mock other people and declare that they are your problem. They won't be your problem when you see the kingdom. And people in the kingdom start seeing totally differently than from just having a congregation of people. A crowd. Do you think the kingdom of God is filled with big old conferences where all these people congregating out there? Do you think that's the kingdom of God? Basically, we are not even like that as people that's trying to get to God. When you find us ripping and running, going here, yon, and can't get settled and get complacent with nothing, it's because we got a wandering old self that don't want to die. Old self of us that don't want to die, and he'll just keep flipping and jumping to keep from dying.